Once war begins, it is not so easy to end. If a new international order is to be established, there can be no hasty peace. The saying goes, the general does not chase after the rabbit, meaning that when the U.S. wants to retreat, holding them back is the best choice. When the U.S. can no longer endure, not only will there be greater concessions, but Russia may even have the chance to address the root issues. Otherwise, it will be a repeat of the past 20 years, with one hollow hope after another. Hello, I'm Jeffrey, and welcome to Just Spit Out As Today. I want to talk about America and Russia cooperation is an empty hope. Zelensky has said he would be willing to step down in exchange for Ukraine joining NATO. In fact, Zelensky is not the obstacle to Ukraine's NATO membership. Whether Ukraine joins NATO has nothing to do with who is president. It is determined by the strategic competition between great powers. In other words, neither Ukraine nor Zelensky has the authority to decide their fate, let alone whether to join NATO. Zelensky's statement clearly shows that he lacks self-awareness about his role and Ukraine's position. He is overestimating himself, thinking Ukraine and he are the key to solving the problem, unaware that America only sees him as part of the problem. So, when America says Ukraine needs a new leader, Zelensky sees NATO membership as a condition for his departure, but what is his bargaining chip? Trump has already made it clear. Zelensky has no cards left to play, meaning he no longer has any bargaining power. Trump's words may sound harsh, but there's truth behind them. If Zelensky insists on playing hardball, he may soon face the imperialist iron fist. The current situation in Ukraine is essentially a result of internal discord within the West over the distribution of spoils. From America's perspective, in terms of short-term interests, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has already served its purpose in supporting the financial war. But in the long term, the task of dividing Europe and disrupting the economic and trade structure between Russia and Europe is far from over. The difficulty for America lies in balancing its long-term goals while maximizing short-term gains. In the short term, signing a mining agreement with Ukraine and extracting America from the current conflict would be the best outcome. However, the challenge is to take away the biggest benefits without allowing Russia and Europe to restore their previous energy economic ties. Only in this way can Europe remain tightly bound to America economically. This requires Europe to continue opposing Russia, and importantly, for Europe to organize this resistance independently while America steps back. As long as the resistance continues, the energy and economic relationship between Russia and Europe cannot be repaired. In this regard, one country aligns perfectly with America's long-term interests: the United Kingdom, which has pursued an offshore balancing strategy for centuries. The UK's long-term goal is to divide the European continent. So now, as America steps back, the UK steps forward to continue organizing the resistance. It's not surprising that after being kicked out of the White House, Zelensky immediately flew to the UK, where he was warmly welcomed. This stands in stark contrast to the cold reception in America. Even the British King personally met with Zelensky to show respect. Not only did the UK provide loans, but they also gathered multiple world leaders, including Stamo and Zelensky, for a summit in London to discuss the Ukrainian crisis and European defense, with plans to establish a long-term strategy. The UK's involvement in this is nothing new. It's a traditional skill. For centuries, Europe has been mired in wars, making it one of the most war-torn regions in the world. Both world wars started in Europe, largely due to the involvement of Britain. So, it's somewhat darkly humorous that the UK is now playing the role of Ukraine's benefactor, trying to unite Europe. The fact that Germany and France have no backbone to oppose the UK's involvement is a historical irony. With America stepping back, Britain is stepping in. In this context, Russia's attitude becomes crucial. After preliminary talks between America and Russia, Russia gave a positive response, expressing strong interest in cooperation on rare earths. From our perspective, at least from mine, it seems Russia might be a bit too eager to make peace, forgetting past grievances. The issue facing Russia is the same as Europe's. Russia needs to rebuild trust with Germany and France and restore economic and trade relations with Europe. That is the foundation for long-term peace and cooperation. Making peace with America is like striking a deal with the devil. It's like America cuts off one of your arms and then expects to share the spoils. If Russia can stomach that, then that's truly impressive. In the post-globalization era, America is shrinking from the front lines of geopolitical conflict. From a long-term strategic perspective, Russia should do the opposite of what America wants: drag America along and prevent it from completing its strategic retreat easily. In the Ukraine situation, there is a shared common interest among Russia, Ukraine, and Europe. Once America is no longer involved, that common ground disappears, therefore holding America back. Rather than cooperating with America to undermine Europe is the best choice. Otherwise, Europe will suffer. And Russia will once again end up paying the price. Whether this leads to World War III is uncertain, but Russia is unlikely to benefit much. Once war begins, it is not so easy to end. If a new international order is to be established, there can be no hasty peace. The general does not chase after the rabbit. The best option is to hold America back when it wants to retreat, when it can't hold out anymore. It will have to make greater concessions, and Russia might even seize an opportunity to resolve the fundamental issues. Otherwise, it will be a repeat of the past 20 years, facing one hollow hope after another. That is all for this episode. Appreciate your listening. Love you guys. I'm Jeffrey. This is Just Spit Out. Just hit the subscription button down below for more unique observations. I will see you guys next time.